Hey, Bandit Racing League viewers, Marshall Crocker Jr. here, talking to you about BanditRacingLeague.com, your place for all things Bandit Racing League information. Check out any of the pages on the site, including the schedule, to find out where we'll be the rest of Season 13. You can also check out the broadcast page to see past and future SimTraX Broadcasting productions of the BRL. You go to our About page and you can sign up and learn more about the series and maybe be one of our newest drivers in Season 14. You can also go to our point standings to find out who's on the cutoff line to make the Season 13 playoffs, and finally see the results of our most recent race. Best of all, it's got links to Geezer Authentics as well as our live broadcasts, so you can get all your Bandit content.
LAT Racing Oils is invested in winning. With industry-leading at-track support, superior engineering, blending technology, and the World Championships to prove it, LAT is your premier choice for racing lubricants. Used by NHRA Pro Mod champions Jose Gonzalez and Chris Thorne along with their closest competitors, LAT Racing Oil continues to carry top-level racers to the winner's circle in all categories of competition. From engine oil to transmission fluid and gear oil, LAT has you covered from end to end in your race car. A nationwide dealer network means easy access to our products as well. Visit LATRacingOils.com for more. Racing Oils is invested in winning with industry-leading action.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to SimTraX Broadcasting. It's Patrick Morrison coming to you live here with the Bandit Racing League here for Season 14. The Daytona 500 kicks off tonight as we get a few new names out here with the Bandit Racing League, going ahead and knocking down some qualifying times, and you will see some familiar faces. One of them here that we're taking a look at is the Filmy and the Wild Ford number 7 of Benjamin Lacey out there in his next-gen car. Looks like the number 7 secures 7th. Looking to see how Sean Britt does as well. Qualifying does end 21st for him, and you may be thinking 21st. Yes, we have just that many drivers out here tonight, and plenty of surprises for you guys here this season, and a lot of things are changing up. One to definitely note is who's going to be sitting alongside me here this season in the booth. Jackson Knock in the 00 OxyClean machine will be hanging out here with me. And you've raced out here before, Jackson, here at Daytona. A lot of drafting's got to happen. The banking's pretty favorable out there, but when you're looking for your friends, it's hard to find them.
Especially in the next gen, you need to stay with your friends all race. Lots of, let's say, aero deficiencies in the next gen. Does not like to be by itself. So definitely keeping track of your friends and staying with them is going to be the key to winning today's race.
Yeah, and I'm curious at the entire time as when these guys group together and how they've moved out there on the track when they've changed teams. The Young Guns crew has changed up a little bit down there. We've even seen Zero Foxtrot pick up a couple extra drivers, and CBD Esports, I can't wait to see what all they have to bring to the table. But this obviously being the starting race here for Season 14 definitely brings a lot of eyeballs out here, a lot of drivers, and everybody gets really excited. But I would say the learning curve here tonight is learning how the other drivers, I would say, hold each other's hand out there. Is somebody going to push harder than they were expecting earlier into this stage? And yes, we'll talk a little bit about that tonight as well. Jackson, when we see drivers out there, is it best to be up front early? Or is it best to kind of hang out in the back of the pack expecting something like the big one might happen?
You know what? I have always stuck to the back of the pack in, pretty much just about every car, every Bandit race on, super speedways. Just feeling like, at some point the big one is going to happen. I have no reason to be fighting up front. However, with the next gen, if you are sticking to the back, if you lose the draft of the front pack. It usually splits up into a couple packs when everyone's taking it pretty easy. You can go laps down when the first pit cycle starts, especially pit cycles. Teammates are going to have to learn together real fast. Everyone new with each other, going to have to figure it out pretty quick, because if you get separated, get apart, you're going to be laps down real easy. I expect some long green flag runs today. Maybe commentators curse, but I expect some good green flag runs today, so definitely teamwork going to be very important.
Yeah, I can guarantee you that, and we're going to be seeing a lot of guys pressing their luck out here. Now let's go ahead and take a look at what the Geezer Authentics 100 sets up us for here tonight. Let's take a look at the temperature out there on the track. 75 degrees. So man, oh man, is it going to be cold out there for Daytona. Hopefully, I guarantee you these guys and everybody in the pit boxes were rallying for 90s or above. It would have been very helpful out there for those next-gen cars, but that does not seem to be the case. At least partly cloudy or semi-clear, we'll see it out here tonight, so we shouldn't have that overlay and fog that we have seen before. Already looking at 100 laps. There will be one stage in each of these races here for Season 14, as we will stick to the next-gen cars. Tonight's one will be at lap number 35. 70% fuel limit, with 3 sets of tires hanging out down there in the pits, and the Bandit Racing League loves giving everybody that second chance. So one faster pair, fixed setup. Jackson Knock going alongside me. Race control, we got a newbie up there. I want to make sure he sticks around before we really pin him to it. Before we get going here. But I gotta say, when I look at some of these drivers out there, I can't wait to see what all they have in store for us here tonight. I don't know if I can depend 100% that somebody is going to make the push at the right time, if somebody is going to find the draft, if somebody's going to slice through, try to move up 7-8 positions right off the bat, or do some of these drivers who got knocked out of the playoffs, drivers like Cody Welch, who wasn't able to make it to the Final Four, which blew everybody's, I would say, fantasy league out there that we thought we were going to see get into the Final Four and be in contention, just kind of gets undone. And I'm waiting to see, is this going to be the one that sets Bandit Racing League apart from the rest of the other leagues we've seen out there? These guys battle hard. A lot of different drivers have been pacing around out there and trying to figure out, is this the setup? Is this the guy I want to run behind? Does this guy push terrible? I mean, Jackson, you've had guys push you from behind and slide across that rear bumper, and it's not just hold the wheel and pray for the best. I mean, you've got to be actively driving even though you're in the front.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work to get pushed, not just to do the pushing. Obviously, at the high speeds, when everyone's got all the adrenaline going, everyone gets shaky. And coming down to the wire there, it can be anyone's race, really. We see Brett Guzik got knocked out of the playoffs right near the end last year. He's looking to do something good. Brett Guzik never backs down, never takes it easy. So expect him to do some crazy moves today. We also see Austin McGill. I'm not sure I've seen him before, but he is in 6th place in, I believe, his first Bandit Racing League race. So we'll see how he does out there as well.
Yeah, I've got to say, we got a decent clutch of Canadians out here racing tonight. Marshall Crocker be out there on there as well. Connor Gibson, Austin McGill, and it looks like Joshua McGuinn. And I'm hoping I'm saying that right. Unable to track him down in the number 19 Ford, but we'll see how he does out there tonight. I do want to grab a hold of a driver out there and maybe might have a little bit of an input out there. Mark Allen Bivens out there in the 76, returning for yet another season, my man. What's the confidence level, and what are you looking at when you get this race started here tonight?
Well, we're always looking to go high, wide, and handsome here at the high banks of Daytona. It's amazing to be back. Not sure I really like the car, but I sometimes just gotta learn to suck it up and go winning anything. That's how I roll, and we're gonna go put on a show tonight.
I've got to admit, a lot of leagues have been choosing the Gen 4 cars lately. Have you had the ability to get behind the wheel of one of those yet?
A couple seasons ago, I ran a league that had the Gen 4 car, and I ended up winning the championship in it, but it wasn't very good in the first few races. It's definitely a car that you do have to get the hang of, but I think that goes to the same with the Gen 7, for different reasons, and really for all cars. Every bit of car takes a different talent skill in this game, and I think that I have the talent skill to adapt to anything. So we're going to go out and we're going to put that to work.
All right, have you done just that when building the team to get this season started?
I think we got a good group of guys. A lot of them aren't going to be able to make it tonight, sadly, but I think that over the course of the season, it's going to show that we have a good group of guys. All the guys that we usually bring are always fast. We got a couple slackers every once in a while, but we always teach them how to be fast. We're always sharing secrets with each other. So we're going to go, and hopefully we can bring home a championship for one of us this season.
Yeah, no, you guys keep tumbling around and almost getting in, but man, oh man, I gotta wonder, when building the team, yes, you've got a few part-time drivers that might be able to fill some seats as well, and I think that might be useful for you guys. But when we look at the schedule, and I'm hoping you had a chance to kind of take a peek over it, is there one track other than this one that you want to circle and say, hey, let's go ahead and get this started with a win?
I was trying to convince them to add a dirt race to it, but we weren't able to get that passed through the boardroom. But I think that the super speedways definitely, just because I feel like we always work well on the super speedways, especially Atlanta. It seems like Texas, I'm really strong at. Homestead, I'm really strong at. Long Beach is definitely going to be something that's going to be a bit wild, so I'm definitely ready to try that one out. And thankfully, the Championship 4 race is at Charlotte, and I've proven my worth there a number of times. So I think that's going to be a pretty good place for me.
All right, man. Well, we're going to root you on up here in the booth. Hopefully you're able to fight your way up to the front. I would say slow and steady wins the race, but here at a super speedway, it might be best to get out front first. Good luck to you out there, Mark.
Appreciate it.
All right, Mark Allen Bivens getting ready to go here. Only about a minute left here in the warm-up as we grab a hold of the number 8 of Kevin Foster, who's going to be looking to fight his way up to the front as well. Kevin, we're building this season. A lot of things have been going against you guys. Talk to me. What made you guys choose the next-gen car this season?
Well, we have never ran the next-gen in a full series here in the Bandit Racing League. So season 14, me, Ben, Bill, we got together and decided, you know what, next-gen is the now-gen, and the time is now to run it.
All right. Your team is going to be looking to fight their way in. You guys started getting eliminated late into the playoffs. Fortunately, you guys were able to squeeze very, very close, but how do we come away with a championship for the Big Red Propane team?
Well, Big Red and GFR, last season was not our best. Running the 3 different cars last season, which plays in some strengths of some guys and, hinders other guys. Decent season overall, but the next-gen car puts, more people on a level playing field. It's definitely more of a driver's car because you have, you can change gears, you can downshift. It's a little tricky at times, but the car is definitely going to, help tighten up the pack, but also it's going to play into more of our strengths, and the team atmosphere that we have here at GFR Big Red Propane Racing is definitely going to lend itself to more wins, and hopefully, at the end of this 22 races, one of us is on top.
Yeah, well, I would say everybody's kind of rally capping for that. But Kevin Foster, good luck to you, buddy, and hopefully we'll talk to you in winner circle, if not tonight, sometime later in the season, buddy.
Oh, absolutely, and thank you for broadcasting this, and thank you for all the fans out there. Really appreciate everyone coming out and viewing, and we can't wait to put on a good show for y'all.
Oh, yeah. All right, Jackson Knock, we are getting ready to get loaded up here. Drivers are starting to grid already down there in pit road as we're waiting a few more guys to load up before we start our grid rundown here. All right, you hear from a couple of drivers here so far that are feel pretty stoked about this race. Now, I would say poor drivers out there like Bill Harkins, when he's able to get up to the front, the poor guy gets turned around, but somehow, I don't know, but he's got a magnet on him. He gets up front, and I don't think Bill gets...
No matter where he is.
Yeah, I don't think he gets the nervous heebie-jeebies when he gets up there. He gets there, and then everybody doesn't want to give anybody really any room, and Bill would much prefer these guys to give him an opportunity. So, all right, you ready to get this starting grid down, buddy?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and do it here. Let's go ahead and get the starting grid lined up for tonight, and let's find out where your favorite driver is, where Ricky Hart goes ahead and starts off season 14 on the pole in the number 28 car. Great job, as he'll be starting at the inside of Michael Ramos. Mark Allen Bivens starts third next to Joshua McQuinn. who starts in 4th. Moving on to Connor Gibson. Hey, we're getting to call it 2 Canadians up there in the top 5. He'll be starting 5th next to Ethan Sikorsky. And Sikorsky, just a horrible finish to the end of his season. And I guarantee he is going to look to remedy that here starting this race. Moving on to Benjamin Lacey, who starts 7th. Kevin Foster, 8th. Moving on to Bob Berry with another top 10 start. And he'll be to the inside of Peter Murphy. I haven't seen that 38 Toyota out here, but he's going to be looking to do an awesome job. Moving on to Willie Evernham, who starts 11th, 12th for Matt Crockett here, as Mason Flagar and David Lakey make up row number 7. Moving on to Brett Guzik and David Westover. Paul Wilson sits 17th, and Victor Weaver 18th. John Osborne, row number 10, sits 19th with Marshall Crocker. Crocker having a very laid-back start here. He's going to be really in the weeds once he gets started. We'll see how he does sitting in front of Sean Britt and Austin McGill. Nick Nickerson looks like he might have had his eyes closed during his qualifying time. 23rd is where he'll start, but he'll be next to Cody Welch. I would say that's probably a pretty dangerous row there for row number 12, so that's going to be rough. Kyle Fahey makes in the 25th spot next to Bill Harkins. Hunter Musselwhite, glad to see him doing a great job. And joining us here at the Bandit Racing League, out of the Napa store into the Sim, 27th. Dylan Castro sits 28th. Yancey, Bassinger, Hartley, Leon, and Condis make up the rest of our field. Let's go ahead and get this one started. Green flag is out. Here we go.
Ricky Hart Jr. leads us to turn number 1 and 2. Pretty even on the start.
And not bad here. We are seeing him squeeze in there. Connor Gibson back to being the Sour Patch Kid. Down on the inside, 19 of Joshua McQuinn sitting on the outside. Notice how we are separating here a little bit farther back in the field, as they're already starting to get a little separation. I'm not quite sure. Maybe a little issue there in the back from Victor Weaver, who drops down 5 positions, as well as Marshall Crocker. Looks like somebody might be having the brakes stuck on here, and hopefully the 77 does not have a problem, as Cody Welch slices to the front, moves to the high line, and he's going to be looking to charge forward. Wait for Marshall Crocker to sneak in behind him there and start pushing. So we'll see if that back half can catch up front. I do want to rotate up to the front where David Lakey sits, about that 14th spot. But right now, I think we got guys slicing it up here in the front. Michael Ramos driving like he's on fire right now. The 27 Ford, 1 of 5 who are currently sitting in the top 5, still charging on, exiting turn 2.
One car going to back down the back straightaway, the 19 car. But Michael Ramos had a big run on the outside lane, chose to go down low, now getting passed on the high side. From the lead down to 4th once again. They're side by side for the lead. Still, I believe that's Kevin Foster with no help on the outside.
Yeah, that it is. Kevin Foster leading the outside. Ethan Sikorsky getting a lead lap here right on the first race of the season. I bet you he's happy to see that. Hopefully he keeps his eyes out the windshield, unlike his race at Bristol where he was staring out the rearview mirror and ended up giving up that race. Horrible run for him, but he's going to be looking to remedy that right now. 94 Ford, the highest Toyota currently is Peter Murphy, who sits in the 2nd spot. You want to talk about on the move. 8 positions gained by that driver. As I see the 38 sneaking right in behind, but man, oh man, has he got a sea of cars behind him, though, as everybody is trying to take a look as the Liquid Death Machine sitting right behind him in that Ford. Looks like Michael Ramos sitting there, and we are moving past the Big Red Propane of the GFR team, the number 8, looking to get some help here from that outside line, but it just seems to be slowing down for him, and it's not really becoming very fruitful on the outside line. Appreciate all you guys out there in the chat joining us here tonight. I see David Lakey, Ricky Hart, pretty excited out there. Jeans, even Madison, all you guys, and Jennifer. Yep, I was waiting when Jennifer was going to show up. Jennifer will be watching out there for Cody Welch, who's currently battling for the 18th position. He'll be looking to fight his way up to the front, but a lot of drivers who started in the front are already on the march backwards. Ricky Hart falling out of the top 5, and Mark Allen Bivens as well. These guys have rotated way back, and they're letting these new guys go ahead, get up there in the front, and let's see what they can do.
Yeah, that inside line really not staying together. That's really what's hurting them, but they're still leading. The outside line very pushed together, seems to be working very well, but can't quite seem to make it up.
Hard charger here so far goes to Hunter Musselwhite, who's currently sitting in the 17th spot. We hop on top of his car looking forward. Not a bad logo there on the hood. Matco Tools, love it. He's going to be slicing to the inside here. That's going to put Nick Nickerson into the rear view unless he can't make up this gap. But notice, watch right here, hits the slipstream, starts to make a pull, and right now is breaking over 195 miles an hour down the backstretch.
Still the whole field side by side, about 10 rows back. Make that maybe 12. No one really giving it up, no one letting it go. A couple cars on the back lost the draft. Not quite sure how they did that. But Nick Nickerson, as well as, I believe it was Cody Welch, both qualified in the back. I believe we've seen them both qualify very good at super speedways in the past. There's a chance there's some sort of strategy there that they qualified slow. You have to qualify in order to race, so there's a chance they might have qualified fairly slow to start in the back to avoid any wrecks that may appear on these first few laps.
Yep, we rotate up to the Goodyear blimp view. Mama Goose thinking exactly what we are. You don't know who to trust with all the newbies out here, but you got to figure it out sometime. You were talking about drivers falling off from first to all the way back to 28th, only separated by about 1.3 seconds. Now, that does have us fall back just a little bit when we fall to Marshall Crocker, who was 4 seconds off pace here. Not quite sure what's going on. Marshall Crocker, Bill Harkins, Victor Weaver, and James Hartley sit 30th through 32nd, and even farther back than that, another 15 seconds back sits Pedro Leon. I don't know maybe if he's having a pedal trouble or whatnot, but we will keep an eye to see if he ends up getting lapped here. If you talk about 15 seconds or so, take a look at the map. That is him in there in the 33. I don't know if he's got a problem or something going on there in the back.
I would definitely guess some mechanical issues, something going on with that 33.
Yeah. Now, 33 positions
the
where
07.
he's sitting in. Do want to make sure we get him at the 07 Ford. So right now, looks like he may be found on the road dead as he has got to pick up the pace. Still leading this race is Michael Ramos. He took it over from Ethan Sikorsky about a lap or so ago. Continuing to charge forward, though, and I would say, yep, right now it's pretty good spot. I like the way, I would say, where Connor Gibson is sitting, our Sour Patch Kid. Decent in the draft here as long as he doesn't overheat. He's not too far from the back of the pack, still within striking distance of taking over the lead. But this is really, to me, a decent spot. He's got an exit lane, more dropping to the bottom. But right now, I think they're a little nervous about the 28 of Ricky Hart, who jumped out to the outside lane to get in front of his teammate there of Kevin Foster. And they are trying to work that outside line, but trying to come up with some sort of an answer here. Is Connor Gibson, as you can see, now up to 5th, giving a quick little shove. Yep, there it is. Mark Allen Bivens is going to appreciate that, and I don't mean sarcastically. Watch this move these guys are able to do, diving into turn number 1. Jackson Knock looks like Mark Allen Bivens may be able to take over the lead.
Looks like he can. Those young gun drivers have always been really good at super speedways, really good at working together. I'm not sure if Connor is on young guns, but obviously still Mark and Connor very close, able to work together. Used that Ricky Hart going up behind him and took that gap and really ran with it.
Yep, notice who is
now going
breaking
low.
away.
Ricky looking low. Connor blocking low, leaving Mark on the high side with no help.
Boy, hats off there to the 28 for not turning Connor Gibson. You want to see the worst wreck. That's when they're spinning out in the front row. Lap number 10 underway. Boy, less than 10% of this race complete, and we've got guys shuffling all over the track out here. Now, we've seen guys who have been shuffling up to the front. Willie Evernham, just to name one of them, as he peaks just outside the top 5 here, looking to run down Kevin Foster to his inside lane, is trying to hold on there, but we've got guys who are shuffling backwards. Right now, Joshua McGuinn, well, yep, top 5 start for him, down 23 spots. Right now, this is, I would say for his team, horrible. They're going to be looking to make an adjustment when they come down into pits. But 23 spots to hang out in 27th, I don't know if that's a spot I'd want to be hanging out in right now. I prefer the Christopher Bassinger move, where he's now up 10, currently holding 20th.
Yeah, Ethan down to about 7th place, 6th place it says on the board. Definitely up front. I think he just wanted to lead his laps, and now he's sitting back and fuel saving. I believe everyone behind him is fuel saving and just watching this party going on in front of them. But those leaders really racing for the lead. They really want it. Only 11 laps in. But like I said, Connor, Mark, they don't back down. They will be going for the lead all night tonight, and we will see that throughout the night.
All right. We finally bang our producer over the head to go ahead and cycle the back half of the field. That way you guys can find your driver if they are unfortunately falling off pace. Right now, our fastest laps out here tonight have been about 46.5 seconds, tumbling around about 47.3, that these guys are going a little bit slower. And seeing where our drivers are hanging off the lead here, though, right now, Mark Allen Bivens is going to be running down Pedro Leon here pretty quick, as he is 37 seconds off pace. So 10 seconds to go, and Pedro is going to be in some trouble here. And I would say even lap traffic, that is going to be trouble for our double-stacked lines out here. Our first three guys of Bivens, Ramos, and Connor Gibson right now, in the happy spot where they got plenty of room to wiggle side by side. But that looks like that's going to end as Ricky Hart slides to the outside. Look and see if the number 9 of Willie Evernham will help him. Kevin Foster waves to his teammate as they sling on by. And the 94 of the Ethan Sikorsky might be able to get back in the fight here.
Kevin Foster looking high. There's a big run to Ricky Hart. Will it lead to Kevin Foster's rear bumper eventually? It will. Matt Crockett was pushing the 9 car really hard down the back straightaway. I'm surprised they didn't wreck. Camera couldn't see it too well. Now also going to the high side is Ethan Sikorsky. I was totally wrong about his fuel-saving strategy. He wants to go to the lead as well.
Absolutely. Slings to the outside, gets a breath of fresh air to the front grill of his Ford. Appreciate Madison, Joe, Nicole now joining us out here in the pits, or out there, in the pits, you guys, where you should be, is you guys hanging out there in the chat as we are watching this race here underway. Lap number 13 over half complete. Number 94 of Ethan Sikorsky back in the lead. Thank you, Kevin Foster, as the big red propane machine continues to charge up to the front. But, man, he has got Ethan Sikorsky holding on to that wheel, and he is jerking it all over. You can even see it through the windshield. Right now, Kevin Foster has not let off the gas yet, and I'm waiting to see if the anchor of that push team, where Ricky Hart Jr. comes into play, if he is going to give a shove to Kevin Foster here and definitely wake this outside line up.
I believe both lines are trying to get clear by the time we get to that lap car. That lap car is coming quick. Both lines want to be the leaders so that they can clear and get around that lap car. It's going to be real difficult to get around if they're side by side.
Yep. Well, right now, fortunately, Pedro Leon did come down in the pit road back on lap number 12. So, unfortunately, he is down there and seeing if he can see what he's got going on out there. Madison J out there saying, yep, that's the pit crew chief. That's right. Start banging him over the head if he's not driving right. All right, moving on through. Mark Allen Bivens leads yet another lap, even though he's got a battle on his hands with Ethan Sikorsky to the outside. Watch the run from the inside. 27 of Michael Ramos does not make contact with Bivens, though. I think with a run like that, you'd want to give him a good nudge to get that inside line rolling here. But right now, yes, everybody's looking pretty solid out there, real good. Everybody's shuffling back and forth. No real contact that's unexpected out there. But tires are going to start to wear off here. Everybody's endurance is going to start being tested. And who's going to make the first mistake? Somebody's going to get nudged here. I would say, Jackson, if we can go flag to flag here, this would, I think, really set a precedent here for season 14.
That would be beautiful. And I think we can do it. Obviously, these drivers are pushing really hard, and they're trying to make it to that stage. I'm not sure if there's stage points. I would assume there is. But, that lap 35 probably means a lot if there's stage points. Got to be up front when that happens. If we can make it past, lap 35, probably green to the 100.
Yep. We will have stage points for our top 10 drivers who finish, obviously, top 10 before the stage. They will be earning points. Everybody else will not be. So right now, a driver like Ethan Sikorsky, super happy here. Ooh, here we come. Look out.
It'll be 3 wide this time out of turn number 4. Wobbling on the high side.
Yep, we hop up top, take a look down as he holds the high line. Ooh, easy. Okay, now a little breathing room. Whew.
A couple drivers were talking about in practice, when you are side by side with a car, especially if there's 2 cars underneath you or a car on either side of you, these cars pull like a magnet. He was probably just trying to keep it off the cars underneath him, pulling them in. Very scary for that 07.
Right, yeah, that side draft starts yanking these drivers around, and they try to hold on the best that they can, but sometimes it's just impossible. And you know a little bit about that rack and pinion steering in these cars. It's not like we stayed with linkage, but the turning radius of these cars have been a lot more sharp. So when you're trying to make the correction out there, I think you even had it. You tried to make a correction, and this thing will snap toward the wall. But it looks like a couple of guys are going to be choosing to come down pit road. And
a little bit of contact.
Yeah, a little bit of contact. Looked like Ricky Hart Jr. may have sped coming into pit road. Currently running about 65 miles an hour down pit road to get into his pit box. As the second clutch of drivers are working their way around. That one actually being led, I believe, here by Marshall Crocker still, with the drivers sitting behind him of Bill Harkins, Terry Condis, Dylan Nicastro, Hunter Musselwhite, Sean Britt, Joshua McQuinn, and James Hartley. Falling way off pace here, so we'll see how this first clutch decides to pit and do everybody else give a shove. Matt Bailey out there is asking, can we get a caution? And they are trying to get something to happen because right now, nobody's choosing pit this time. No can do. Checking out on some of our pit stall times. Looks like fuel and go for everybody. About 8 seconds for our pit drivers out there. They're getting back out on the track. Lap number 17 is when they came down. So we're starting to notice that fuel window here a little bit. I would say another 6 to 7 laps. We're going to see guys coming down for fuel. But, Jackson, you know about leading out there, man. It's if you're in the lead, you're sucking down more fuel than the guy behind you is kind of coasting.
Yeah, when you're in the lead, usually you're full throttle. Sometimes you're letting off a little bit to let them push you. I would assume they're doing that now to possibly go a little bit faster, try to break that gap between when the other cars at pit come back out with them, still trying to extend that gap as the other cars are getting back together. If they stay together in this pack, get a little bit more time on everyone else.
Yeah, they're seeing what they can do. Firestone Studios is saying he needs his sponsor money to get for a caution to come out so he can get his stuff back up there, and they'll see how it goes. And yeah, hopefully after the pit cycles, that's what Budget Off-Roads is hoping out there, that if a yellow were to come out, that's when. All right, looks like we are catching up to, that does not deceive your eyes. That is the 85 of Cody Welch slinging on by. That puts him a lap down here, and that's where they're going to start catching the rest of the field. Not sure why Cody Welch is quite off pace so much. He does seem to be falling off something fierce, and I don't know if there's something else.
Road.
Yep, a huge fire sale here. Here's the nudging, and RC going to have his eyeballs on that. I don't know if the Sour Patch Kid pushed the 27 of Michael Ramos past the line, getting him into too fast of an entry. They'll also be watching to see how many pit stalls are driven through. There's one. They'll see if Kevin Foster ends up being a faulter of that one. See if he shuffles around. But, when RC, they can't be everywhere all at the same time. So we try to chime in when we can to see if we can give them a little bit of a hint out there to see if we can help them. So, all right, Mama Goose, start smiling out there. The number 04 Ford is in the lead here. The number 20, Kyle Fahey, sitting right behind him. McGuzik, I think, is trying to see if he can squeeze one more lap by giving Cody Welch a push. He throws in the towel. Down he comes. Let's see how he does. Right now, his speed, got to get 65. Good job.
Brett Guzik not going to have a lot of help out of pit road this time by. The last group that pit, I believe Curtis Yancey was a part of it. I think there's a little bit of contact coming into pit road. Curtis Yancey has some bad front bumper damage that I'm not sure we were quite able to see, but Curtis Yancey might have some handling issues out there for a while.
All right, well, we'll keep an eye out there on Curtis Yancey as we kind of get a little bit of a chase drone footage of his Camaro out there, looking to see if he's got anything going on with that Brass Pro Shop. It's hard to see because he's got
pushed in a little bit.
Yeah, it is pushed in right there at the bottom of the grill when you can see him peek out to the side. Might be able to get something there from Connor Gibson here. Let me see if I can take a peek. Connor Gibson, there we go. Yeah, he's folded up just a little bit right at the bottom of that grill. Hoping that's not going to cause too much of an air deflection for him out there tonight, but it does not seem to slow Curtis Yancey down ever for him to have damage. We've seen him multiple times just be able to pull a rabbit out of his hat and come up with all sorts of different answers. But in the next-gen car, I would say, pretty stout little car. I think these cars are able to bounce off the wall a pretty decent amount, collect a little bit of damage, and still remain competitive. I know the Xfinities, when I used to get bounced off the wall, that right front fender tends to fold, and it's almost your race is over. I can't seem to recover.
Yeah, hopefully that shouldn't affect him too much, especially, it's not a bad place. It might actually help him with bump drafting a little bit, be a little bit faster in the pack. We'll see. But currently, it's a little bit scary for Curtis Yancey.
Yep, I would say some of these drivers will be happy to see the caution come out for the stage break in 11 laps. Right now, they'll have to see what's going on out there, Firestone Tire Studios. No, there is no option for changing the type of tire. There's only one set of fancy Goodyear F1 Eagles that these guys put on out there. And even the real race car drivers out there have complained that these tires are garbage. Right now, as they do, instead of roll off the marbles, they powder up instead, so it actually creates a slick spot out there on the track. Notice who's on the move here. That is Mason Flagar here to the inside, as he's going to snug up behind the 28.
Oh.
Boy, is that Kevin Foster getting loose there?
Yeah, Kevin Foster got loose off the bumper of Curtis Yancey out of turn 2. Seemed to have corrected it just fine. Now both of them down to the bottom lane.
We've seen that a bunch of times from Yancey, giving guys a push maybe a little too hard there, or starting to slide across that rear bumper. I would say that these guys are as well moving a lot more up and down the track now that they are not side by side. So I would say if this might be some trouble. Let's move to our leaders up here of Marshall Crocker and Bill Harkins. Notice they are out in front by 1.7 seconds over McGuinn and Sean Britt. I'm looking back at our timer here of David Lakey off by almost 17 and a half seconds. Lakey would love to sling himself into the lead. Our top 4 drivers have yet to pit. Whoa, quick peel off by Crocker. Oh yeah, nope. Nope, I guarantee you that's a speeding penalty.
Yeah, Bill and Marshall Crocker were teaming up there just for a moment. He said he was pitting this time, and Bill said, no, I said next time. So both of them separating. Not going to be good for Marshall Crocker or Bill Harkins.
Right, yeah, you definitely do not want to go in alone. And this is not bad. Harkins is running, I guarantee you, on fumes. So he's trying to get as much as he can. And he'll be at the back of the pack when they get restarted. Nicole rooting on Bill out there. Appreciate you guys joining us here at SimTraX Broadcasting. This is us bringing you the Bandit Racing League for the Geezer Authentics 100 here at Daytona. Notice Bill, I think, is run out of fuel. Next time by, that's not good. Currently running 100 miles an hour heading toward pit road, and he's going to be coasting from there on. Some drivers don't like stages, but right now there's a guy who is. Bill Harkins is going to be happy when that happens. All right, McGuinn and Sean Britt still out there. Looking to see if Sean Britt is still rocking the Weathermaster machine out here. Let's see the LAT Racing Oils. Yeah, I like that logo better than the last one. All right, we'll see if the Weathermaster.
It was a nice-looking car.
Yeah, not bad.
Bill says, no, I was not on fumes. He seems to be listening to the broadcast.
Not on fumes. Oh, my God. Oh, my gosh. Well, he's head down pit road here. McGuinn and Britt, that's it. That's going to bring our last 2 guys. Let's rotate back to the Chevy Camaro here of David Lakey. For 0 Foxtrot, he's going to be happy to get the lead, but looks like that gets wiped away. Benjamin Lacey to the outside with Paul Wilson. They take over, and right now trying to slow the roll is David Lakey. Gives a quick cutoff there, and no can do. Nickerson plans on it, drives to the bottom, and gets out of the way.
Nickerson with no help right now. Outside lane seems to be prevailing. All the cars up there but 4.
Yeah, Ken
Lacey,
Nickerson,
your leader.
Ken Nickerson gets some help here. Looks like the 23 machine getting in right behind him, though. 23 of Dylan DeCastro is currently down a lap. And that is one of our first. James Hartley in the number 6. He's down a lap as well. And waiting for Marshall Crocker to see if he can get back onto the lead lap. I would say maybe hung out there a little too long. Not pitting with groups has caused them both to end up going some laps down here. But Bill Harkins is actually, I believe, I think, still on the lead lap here.
It seems like it. DeCastro is the leader of the lap down cars. DeCastro and Hartley in the same pack. They're going to be battling for that lucky dog transfer spot.
All right, this is a look off the backside of Hunter Musselwhite's car as he is heading down a lap now. Let's see if we've got that camera hooked up. Yes, we do. There's the right side. Oh, man. Guys are shuffling
Getting fishy.
around. Yeah, well, I don't know. I think everybody's getting real testy here. Very confusing. Yeah, we're single file. We guys want to move, but they've got to be careful. And all right, that one's for you out there, Jackson, out there in the chat. It says, hey, Mailbox, why didn't you choose to race this season? I'm sad not to see you out there.
Well, I personally have never been a big fan of this car. I knew that out there I might not have had as much of a fun time as I would here. I love commentating, and it's a real honor to be in the booth, so I appreciate you having me in here, and it's still going to be a fun season, and who knows, maybe you'll see me next season. Maybe I'll be back here. No plans have been discussed, but I love being a part of Bandit Racing League, and I wouldn't want to just not be here, so I'll be here and support in any way that I can.
Attaboy. We definitely appreciate you coming out here and hanging out with me here in the booth, giving Stella a little bit of time to align her chakras, and we may see her down in pit road later on in the season to get a little piece of word of advice from some of our crew members down there. All right, 4 laps to go here before we come to our stage. And I'm pretty excited to see how this is going so far. Right now, drivers like Curtis Yancey, who are up 24 positions from his original qualifying position, right now is within striking distance. And he is going to be scoring some points as long as everything stays safe. Right now, I don't like how everybody's moving around. Paul Wilson looking a little loose out there.
Yeah, Connor Gibson looked low. Curtis Yancey looked to go with him. Curtis almost goes low. He does not. Stays with Connor Gibson. Lacey looks like he wants something down there. The only lane to pass in currently. Connor's going to make a big move on the bottom, possibly down the back straightaway. We'll see what he does right here.
Yep. You can see as he keeps taking a peek down to see if he is clear of Benjamin Lacey. Lacey getting that help from Paul Wilson, though. But Lacey wants to go ahead and get a stage win here to start this season. Definitely does not want to take any of these guys and have an opportunity to start losing at the beginning of this season. Right now, our top 10 have got to be our guys in. Right now, the 81 holds that final spot there for John Osborne. To the inside is going to be the number 16. That is unfortunately a lap down, though. But look at how they're starting to spread. 3 wide.
3 wide down the front straightaway. He's keeping it 3 wide. Connor went from the front all the way down to 6th or 7th now. Lakey back to the lead. Bivens pushing.
As we chase behind here of Curtis Yancey. He was the driver caught in the middle. Now down to the 11th spot. He's not going to be happy about that transfer as he rotates back. 2 more laps to go. Look at the 81. Getting pretty excited out there. 81 and the 82. Right now looking to see if they got something going on. Now I would say... Go ahead.
Push on the high side by Nickerson to Lacey, trying to make something happen. Lacey down there to side draft Connor Gibson. Gibson now with a gap in front of him. Got nowhere. Now getting pushed by the 75. Bottom lane still prevailing.
Lead race still being led by David Lakey. He's got to lead this last lap here, and everyone says at a super speedway, you're dead meat if you're sitting in the front. Mark Allen Bivens holds on to second. That's not bad for a third-place start as he returns almost right back to the top 3 where he originally started. Connor Gibson taking a look right behind him and seeing if the 31 Chevrolet coming on strong. Notice who's on the outside of Benjamin Lacey trying to hold the top line. Bob Berry, our quiet and silent driver, looking to fire up to the front, but he's got Mason Flagar and Connor Gibson around there. So right now he is getting pinballed a little bit. Here we go. Does Mark Allen Bivens decide to sling past him? Lakey looking out the rear window, and it looks like the 76 might just go ahead and stick with him here across the line, lap number 35. That should do it and start our stage, unless they go ahead and finish this lap.
Well, that's actually the white flag for the stage.
Oh, what? They finished lap 35. Okay, I wasn't sure if we had it. Not bad. Hey, appreciate David Lakey. Look out there on that deck lid. Man, that looks sharp. All right.
Yeah, Mark Allen Bivens might be waiting one more lap. He might do something down the front straightaway or into the corner here. No one behind him to help. Gonna have to do it by himself. On the bumper still as we head into turns number 3 and 4. Going back just a little bit, possibly to create a run. Here comes the 23 car with push from Connor Gibson. Everyone going high. Connor Gibson goes high. Mark goes low. Side by side of the line. Mark has the run.
Yep, Mark Allen Bivens gets him there by half a car length at the line. Not a bad job there. That was a wild run. and we'll see how this kind of finishes up here. I do want to keep an eye out there to see. There it is. There's our caution. Woo!
I'm not sure how that's going to work out. At the time of caution, Bivens was in third. Obviously, at the line, he took the stage. Not sure there's any way for admin to put him in the lead. So, not quite sure what they're going to do here, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we'll shuffle it up here a little bit and see what happens. Just remember, we still have pit road. I guarantee everybody may come down into pit and then put 4 tires and fuel. Our laps were pretty comparable out there, even though David Lakey pit back on lap number 20 was still running a 46.5-second lap. That's only 0.2 slower than his best time here of the night. So they are working up. And right now, Firestone, yes, this is a stage caution. So the caution you've been begging for has finally happened. Unfortunately, that does leave a lot of our big-name drivers down. Dylan Nicastro, I believe, will get our lucky dog around. Musselwhite, Hartley, Leon, Crocker, Condis, and Victor Weaver may be down and out here and still a lap down to collect this one back up. So we'll see. It's how it gets going here. So it says that Victor Weaver had a problem out there on the track a little bit earlier here into this race, and I don't know, back on lap number 28, I do want to take a peek and see what happened to Victor and see if maybe there was a problem or if this just looks like a shutdown. No, he's just got out of the way. Okay, so the number 18 NOS machine just got out of the way, and he go ahead and get back to it here. So drivers still under caution lap here. Lights are still on. I'm sure everybody will come down pit road for tires and fuel. Jackson, we get 35 laps under our belt here. How's it looking so far?
You know what? They're looking really aggressive, but they're also looking clean. We've only seen about 2 times where anyone really made a mistake that, got a little uneasy, a little loose, bumped the car in front of them a little bit too hard. But other than that, we've seen some pretty straight-on pushing, even when they got excited and, near the end of the stage. Still some pretty solid racing. I think we'll see that pretty much for the rest of the night. These guys are some good drivers, and with new names, everyone's being probably a little bit easier on the pushing. We might see it ramp up, but at the moment, really good racing.
Yeah, got to say, race off of pit road here. That's going to go to Mark Allen Bivens. Kevin Foster shuffles all the way up to second. Great job. Connor Gibson third. Benjamin Lacey fourth. Austin McGill up to fifth. Great pit stop there by Austin McGill. Massinger moves up even more as he only takes a 9.5-second pit stop. Looks like a set of right side tires for the number 1 car as he gets back out there. One other driver did short pit, Michael Ramos, for an 8.1 seconds. And I think that may only be fuel and go, as well as Bill Harkins. Came down for an 8.27. Oof. Like you guys are out there talking about sim rigs. Yeah, definitely. And having software issues, I would say I don't think anybody will hate somebody out there on the track. You're having a software issue, a monitor goes down, for God's sakes, get off the track. We'll understand. So, yeah, definitely, boy, I've heard of guys' monitors going out, swinging up the track, and taking out half the field, and that is just, I don't know. You practice all week, and you hate to see something like that get messed up. That is definitely a heartbreaker. All right. Pace car lights are still on. Should be off this time by. We'll be double stacking after that. Fortunately, I believe they have not decided on choose cone here.
No choose cone, you said?
I do not believe so. I would love iRacing to figure out how to program that in, where you can either choose cone or not.
That wouldn't seem too difficult, in my opinion, to program in. But I am not a game developer, so I really can't say.
Yeah, but knowing our luck, we'd grind against the wall and it'd still say I was in an infraction. If we can't get the netcode squared away at all, I don't think we'd have an opportunity. All right, 45 people out there watching currently here at the Bandit Racing League. Appreciate you guys joining us here at SimTraX Broadcasting. We'll get a few more links up after this race for what is upcoming and what is next. We've got a load of new tracks that we're going to be racing at, and they are going to be extra exciting. I cannot wait to see what these guys have lined up, and I think they've thrown together really a comparable race setup here that they're going to be looking to run this upcoming season. We leave Daytona, and, well, not much of a commute. These guys will head to Homestead, Miami on the 14th, and we'll be running those guys for 125 laps. Then they've got the hike all the way to Iowa for the 21st and Vegas on the 28th. So everybody should be well rested there for Homestead. I think the Iowa one is going to be pretty tough. Yes, they go to that track. Little bumpy, though. I've seen here from the booth. It's almost like Baja racing out there when they're trying to exit the turn. So that is going to be a one we're going to have to hold them to it, and maybe they will have a better luck than most drivers. Jackson, I don't know if you paid attention to some of the truck racing out there, but it will almost hop the rear end of the car and actually make it come off the ground at Iowa.
Especially this next-gen car, I would assume is definitely going to have a lot of those issues with bottoming out, so expect to see some wonky stuff mid-corner, especially in turns 1 and 2 on that high side. It's going to be a little crazy.
All right. Green flag, about to head back out. All right, Barney, let her rip. Here we go. Markel Bivens going to get us to the start. He chose outside line, and Benjamin Lacey agrees with him. He's going to follow along. But Markel Bivens does get a huge run out to the outside, but he has got to hope Benjamin Lacey gets there quick so they can slice to the bottom, and that they do. It works out very well for them. Cold tires on a slightly warmer track. Let's see how these things hold up. Yeah, Kevin Foster going ahead and giving Benjamin Lacey the business there as the third-place driver goes ahead and gets this front line, continuing the move. He does not want that outside, what's happening to the outside line, where unfortunately looks like David Lakey has got lead put in the car. He needs some help there from Bob Berry.
Yeah, top 3 are bumper to bumper to bumper, pushing down the back straightaway. Connor Gibson looking to get in there as well as Matt Crockett in the 10. Oh, no, that's not Matt Crockett. That is Magill?
Yes, Magill in the number 10.
Wow.
Here you go. You're thinking of the throwback to
Thank
the
you.
old numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Austin McGill now up to 4th. That gives them 18 here on the night. As they sling by another driver here, Dylan Castro heading back down pit road here. I don't know if he's got more problems there, but that number 23 Toyota is one of 2 Toyotas out here tonight. Peter Murphy still holding on to his 38, currently in 11th spot. He'll be looking to see if he can shoot his way up to the front and prove that maybe the imports have a better chance than the Ford and Chevys that have been racing so strong out here tonight. Notice how Bivens is going to work that outside line. He finally mates back up with Connor Gibson. That pushes him out to an easy 1-car lead, and Connor Gibson looking to help them stretch it out on the way they go. Notice who's able to rejoin back in the fight. That is David Lakey. Yes, it is high line, and notice Bob Berry fading off again. I would say Barry wants to make the longevity of this race, but to be competitive and get in the front, you got to get a little dicey. You got to buck up or shut up, and this has got to happen here. So Mason Flagar feels almost trapped here and wants to push Bob Berry up to the front, but man, oh man, that's not. I would say, Jackson, that's probably not what you want to do, is start pushing an admin around.
No. But yeah, Bob Berry, we saw a lot of speed last season. Not sure quite at super speedways. He's a little bit more careful of a driver as he holds the wheel steady with Mason Flagar pushing him from behind. Mason now going low, sees nothing going on up there. Bob now moving that high lane back.
Yep, well, he's going to continue that roll back as Christopher Passenger, who's been on a 20-position roll forward, and now gets the brakes hit on him as the 75 runs out of real estate. Moving to the outside. Ooh, watch Barry. Barry now getting a huge run there. He doesn't want to ride it out. Slows down just a hair. McGill takes the outside line, and he is looking to see if he can get himself a lead lap here. But Paul Wilson, and that's something I want to point out a little bit. I would love to know if any of the rivalries we had last season flare up again. Remember with Ethan Sikorsky and Paul Wilson out there?
That'd be a lot of fun to see, but I believe they they got over it. They said sorry. They, virtually hugged it out, and which is what you like to see, but not always exciting. Big pushing to that 10 car of McGill. Now David Lakey getting up in front of him, seeing the run up to the front. New leader, David Lakey, out of turn number 2, I believe.
Yep, they slice around this track as they keep moving. Huge bobbing and weaving there as they exit. And they are trying to hold on to it as they get down the front stretch here. In the lead, Austin McGill is going to have himself a lead lap. David Lakey holds on to second. Third place goes to Mason Flagar, and still battling for a couple of positions. Mark Allen Bivens, Bob Berry, Connor Gibson making up our top 6 as they shuffle around. David Lakey,
That's
horrible
not good.
time. Yeah, we were kind of hoping during the offseason of a month off that we had, a little bit of that blinking would have been corrected. David Lakey, we lose him there for about a blink of an eye, and then he's able to return, which is a lot better than we saw last season. But hopefully Lakey is able to shut down whatever it is there in the background in the midst of this drafting out there. So hopefully he can stay on the track because it is ever so important. He is in one of the most important spots on the track, and hopefully Lakey is able to clean it up. All drivers here in the top 5 have moved up at least a minimum of 2 positions. Bivens up 2, Flagar up 11, McGill up 19, Bob Berry up 5, and Lakey up 9. Bassinger looking to play in and out of the top 5 there, which would give him a 25-position gain, which is huge. Talking about starting outside in the 30s, so he's working his way up to the front, and I guarantee you that guy leads a lap right now. I think his crew chief will throw his hat off and say, all right, boys, we're ready to go home. That's something.
Ethan Sikorsky edging his way forwards. I'm not sure how far he was back during that caution, but he's back up there up front in 6th. Bob Berry now leading the outside lane, getting pushed by Christopher Bassinger. Now new leader Bob Berry.
Yeah, Bob Berry does get the lead, whether he wants to or not. I don't think the number 1 Ford told him, you don't have a choice. We're moving. Right now, we'll see if Berry decides to hang on to the high line. The number 1 of Bassinger decides to back it up just a little bit there. Snugs in behind him, does not want to cause any problems. Wait for Sikorsky. I would say that's the anchor of that team on the outside line. The 94 Snugs up behind Bassinger. These guys are going to start flying around the track. Any super speedway I've ever been to, high line is the successful line. The low line will work only for some time until it gets too rubbered up there, and they're going to be battling it out. So Bob Berry losing a little bit of ground to Bivens and Flagar as Bassinger backs it way on up. Hopefully the bleeding will stop here for the outside line as they've got to figure out how to snug back up. Lakey now up to 3rd, and still our top 5 drivers have a lot of work to do here as they've been shuffling around. And I talk about shuffling around. Here we move back to Paul Wilson again. Paul Wilson currently sitting behind Kevin Foster. This is our 11th place driver. And fortunately, it doesn't look like we have a fall off like we did before. A lot of these guys have dropped way back, but it doesn't seem to be that much. Joshua McGuinn did lose the draft, though, with Sean Britt and Hunter Musselwhite sitting right behind him. They would love to get back up front, but I'm not quite sure what keeps getting these guys tripped up, and they keep falling off pace.
It might be strategic. I know Joshua McQuiggan, I've seen him up front in races before. I know he's not a slow driver. He's not timid. He usually can hold his place up front. So, possibly just trying to stay out of the hornet's nest. It's been aggressive up here, but it hasn't been too dangerous, it seems. So, not quite sure what's going on there.
Yeah, huge run out front. Notice how we got a driver about to end up going, getting pinched here. Down on the bottom, that's the number 23 car. Dylan Nicastro has had a bunch of problems here tonight. Back down pit road he went for a 44.5-second pit stop. And the bleeding won't stop for him. Hopefully he's able to cover that wound to get back to it here and see if he can bounce back. Snugs right into the draft, though. I believe that is him currently tucking in right in front of Paul Wilson. And he'll have an opportunity to stay hanging out there with the faster guys in the group. Right now, Bivens does regain the lead. David Lakey holds on to 2nd, Flagar 3rd. Benjamin Lacey, we want to kind of shout him out a little bit there as he currently holds down here in 8th. And Willie Evernham in 13th. Now, I would say that is a dangerous spot, as once you start getting outside the top 12, a lot of things can happen. You really can't see anything. As we take a look here from the inside of the car, and they see where he is moving around, that is about all he can see. And if there's
even
a
less
wreck,
from the driver.
yeah, and it's hard to say. When the third driver in this lane is sideways, you have no idea until you're in it.
Especially on the outside lane, on the inside lane, especially down the back stretch and parts of the front stretch, there's a lot of real estate to go underneath the line to avoid the wreck. But when you're on the high side, you just accept your fate. There's not much you can do. One car in the wall on the outside. It's the one car of Christopher Bassinger.
Yep.
Seems to hold it together.
Yep, scrapes it along the wall there. Does unfortunately cost him a top 10 spot as he falls outside. 7. Hold on to it there, Benjamin Lacey. Lacey merging back in right now. Okay, well, we're seeing trouble now. Guy's not giving up an inch out there, and now everybody's starting to get shoved around out there. Connor Gibson holds the outside lead in the outside lane, but they're checking out there in the chat. There is only one competition caution. That was at lap 35 as we break past our halfway mark here of this race. I would say if you are a lap down now, your race might be over. It's hard to come back at a super speedway when guys are rolling this fast. 200 miles an hour some of these guys are touching. Connor Gibson and Mark Allen Bivens have touched that a couple of times here tonight, and it is almost impossible to get back when you are falling one out of the draft or two a lap down. You've got to pray for a bunch of cautions, and hopefully you're not in one of them.
Ethan Sikorsky back up, leading that outside lane exactly where he wants to be. He wants to be up front. But that, three-car trio of Connor, Mason, and Mark just not letting anyone get around them, absolutely controlling these front two lanes this entire, probably last 10, 15 laps as we hit the halfway point about three laps ago.
All right, deep breath from all the guys here in the front. Right now, go back to the drawing board goes Benjamin Lacey. He's fought his way up before, but not from this far back, as he's currently down in 16th now. Not interested in making any sort of crazy moves out there. Curtis Yancey fought himself back up to the 11th spot. And a lot of big names I'm really confused to see so far back. David Westover currently sitting in 20th. He's down 4. Ricky Hart is down 20 positions. Right now hanging in 21st. I mean, that is just crazy right now. But Bassinger has been moving his way up to the front, currently sitting in 8th. And there's just a lot of stuff happening out here and in the booth. And I see even Stella out there saying we're doing an awesome job here tonight. And even the drivers out there are doing an awesome job. I would say a couple of little follies there. Hopefully Benjamin Lacey didn't suffer too much damage. And this is what shifts around a little bit out there, So I hope these guys are able to stay composed out there, because we're already starting to see a little bit of tumbling up here. And I would say this is when the endurance starts kicking in. Who is crashing walking up and who's starting to get tired.
Yeah, especially a lot of this is going to be fuel saving. That, front few cars of, Connor Gibson, Mark Allen Bivens, David Lakey, Mason Flagar, and even Bob Berry definitely cannot be saving as much fuel as those cars back behind them. We look at Kevin Foster, has been sitting in that position for a while now, really probably just giving it about half gas, saving a lot more fuel than those people up front. Definitely going to see strategies come into play as we stay green.
Yeah, well, when they do come back down to the pit, that's going to change everything up. Mason Flagar shoots down to the bottom line and go ahead and chop his way back to the front. Firestone Studios out there is asking about, is this Daytona's unpredictable? Rules say stay above the line, but when you're getting pinched at 190, what do you even do? You cannot pass below that yellow line. You can go down below the yellow line, but you cannot advance. So that's the only rule I can say here at this point. With him getting bumped out or pinched down at the bottom, as long as the other guy's above the line, but I guess there's no rule against pushing a guy down too low. I think there was just some trouble between Benjamin Lacey and the rest of the field, that there was a little bit of a nudge and he wasn't able to get in position to get out of the situation. So hopefully he's able to continue through here.
Yeah, and with that double yellow line rule, it's on iRacing, it's really only if race control sees you doing it. There's no real black flag or sensor for passing underneath that double yellow line. That is all race control that moderates that.
Yeah, But I would say somebody's going to start crying wolf out there and saying, hey, that guy's passing me on the bottom. There's a quick replay, and then race control will take care of it. Like, hey, man, you can't do that.
I've been on both sides of that stick, so.
Yeah. If there's a wreck, things happen, you know. That once there's a wreck, it doesn't matter. It's escape. You know, it's active survival. But a lot of these guys are going to be trying their luck here, and hopefully no cautions will come out. Notice line change here. Ethan Sikorsky has friends behind him. Looks like Austin McGill and Christopher Passenger are going to help him here, and it's going to work. Moving on with Mason Flagar, is holding in that fourth spot. He's not getting any luck as he is starting to fall back. Right now, it looks like no choice there as the power of the Beaver Nuggets are not kicking in for the 72 car. He is working his way on back now to 8th outside line, failing yet again. This is probably the only time I've seen at a super speedway that the outside line has not been the one to prevail.
You know, with the next-gen car, it almost feels randomized on which line is going to prevail. Both lines could be pushing super, super hard, and yet, oh, one goes around down the back straightaway.
Bob Barry going.
Bob Barry.
Yep. Barry taking out the landscaping here. No caution will be thrown as he did not come out into traffic. Holy cow.
Great save by Bob Barry. Not quite sure whose bumper that was off of. Bad push. Gone wrong.
Hell yeah, Bob Barry does get bumped out here, and he slings way back. Fortunately, his car does seem to be in one piece as we're trying to take a peek at what happened here. Barry got bumped and pushed around out there, and then off the track he went. Looking to see back right about here. I think we're going to see what happened. Barry gets scrubbed. Yep, by the 82. Whoop, round he goes.
Yeah, 82 getting pushed by the 51 of Curtis Yancey. Really not a lot that the 82 could probably do to stay off of him there, I would guess.
Yep. Great job by Barry, though, to hold on to it, though. But unfortunately, this might do his race in as he is 2 seconds behind Sean Britt of being able to even reach up and grab a hold of our two guys who have unfortunately way off pace here. McQuiggan and Sean Britt, currently 23rd and 24th. Let's find one of our fastest drivers out there on the track, Peter Murphy. And I think there might be a reason why. They get a little bit of door draft there from Cody Welch. Welch now working his way up front. Something tells me somebody radioed up and it said, hey, time to move forward. So the 94 machine trying to get up front as well. And I'm currently looking 94 machine. I believe that is the 04. Man, we got to get a better highlighter around that 0. And that's, yeah, I was going to say that's Brett Guzik's color. But I'm a little confused of what I'm looking at here.
Matt Crockett goes around in front of the field. Brett Guzik and Matt Crockett hard into the outside wall. Into turn one, more piling in.
Caution out. And I think that's Nickerson spinning around, still trying to come to a stop. Looks like most of these cars no worse for the wear out here. A caution that was needed by everybody out here to try to clump everybody back together and give them another opportunity has come out. Sikorsky did hold on to the lead during this time. And we'll see how this looks from our angle here. Whoa, Crockett around. Yeah, we got to find a better angle of that. That was terrible.
Hard hit for Nick Nickerson. The outside wall, another car tags him on the apron.
Okay, so Crockett's toward the high side, and it looked like Guzik tried to send it. Yeah, Guzik.
Yeah, not a lot of
lot
of room there for Guzik.
Oh no! And I think that was Kevin Foster greeting the wall. Ouch.
Oh, Bill getting involved.
Yeah, he never even saw Nickerson coming down the track. Hard shot here. Let's take another look at it. Yeah, Guzik again to the inside of Crockett. Crockett and Guzik up into the wall. Notice how Nickerson's trying to send it down here on the bottom. And that's where he gets into his own teammate.
Starts that slide, no longer in control. Right down into Bill Harkins. The caution is being labeled a racing incident.
Yep.
By race control.
Yeah, nothing intentional there. Just three guys actually trying to squeeze into a bad spot. It does bring out our caution sponsor here of the season, brought to you by Perfect Shine Auto Spa. As our caution is coming to an end, everybody down pit road currently. Everybody starting to throw on 4 tires and fuel. Who decides to take no tires? We'll definitely have to see, as a couple of drivers are shooting out. Austin McGill going to be the first one out at 11.5 seconds. That's some blazing speed there. The rest of the guys are 12. Ethan Sikorsky, Bassender, and Cody Welch. Hey. All right, Jennifer Wonders, you're going to see out there. Are you still Jennifer Wonders? Can't remember. I didn't know if you all got married yet. I thought I was pretty close. All right. Well, Cody Welch currently holding in 4th. He now has top 5 with Mark Allen Bivens rounding out that 5. All right. Right now, Firestone Tire Studios. You've got to let me know who you are. Man, you are excited about this race. I love the energy out there. All right, so a lot of guys starting to move around out there. I don't see anybody actually entering into the infield car care center, so everybody should still be alive out there. And no massive damage that we have seen. Only one driver has taken it back to the garage. Victor Weaver out there in the 18 Chevrolet. Better luck at Homestead. Hopefully we will see him return. Okay. Still Wonders. Oh, man. All right. All right. Bob Berry hugs in 20th. This will give him a redo. Let's see if he can fight back through this field.
Yeah, I believe no big wrecks other than that just yet. So everyone involved, pretty sure, still has their fast repair. So everyone gonna be back out there as if it never happened.
All right. When we talk a little bit about strategy here, talk to me about what might be going through Benjamin Lacey's mind. This guy's working his way back down pit road again.
Well, a lot of people. I don't know how long the field run is. We have about 30, 35 laps left, 34 maybe when we go green. He might be thinking if the fuel run is down to the wire, possibly by a lap or two, come in a second time around to get just a little bit more fuel than everyone else. Might be the play. We'll see.
Yeah, that would be something if Benjamin Lacey's taking that last splash of fuel and that ends up being the winning call. We'll definitely see Peter Murphy dealing with a bunch of damage out there. 1 minute and 11 seconds down there in the box. A 38 Toyota trying to hang out there.
Yeah, I'm getting the update from one of the drivers, Connor Gibson, says that a fuel run is about 29 to 30 laps. So if we have about 35 laps left, thinking, maybe there's a caution or two at some point in there, that one little lap splash of fuel might help him, make it all the way without having to pit.
Boy, that would be something, wouldn't it?
That would be something.
All right. All right, like to thank Perfect Shine Auto Spa for being our caution replay. Would like to also give a quick shout out there to Jim's Auto Works out there in Perry, Ohio. Guys, don't forget to give them a ring. Established back in 2010. They're going to go ahead and give a quick shout out there to Mark Allen Bivens for taking it away there at the stage. All righty. Barney's getting ready back in the flag booth. Great shot here. Let's go ahead and get this one back underway. Second caution is complete. First one was planned. And Connor Gibson, quick lane change.
Heading down the front straightaway, single file, heading into turns number 1 and 2. One car on the high side, got no one to push him. but everyone possibly taking it a little bit easier after that caution. Sometimes cautions breed cautions, and sometimes caution breeds a little bit of sense in these drivers. But as we see, every bumper to bumper pushing really hard. I was totally wrong about that sense part.
Yeah, Connor Gibson's going to be the next one around here. If he doesn't calm this thing down, rotates down, and doors Cody Welch there. Welch avoided the last one, but Jennifer's going to have her eyes covered after that. Welch able to escape and get out of there right now. A huge run by Connor Gibson. Decides not to lift, gets banged around a little bit, and back to the back he's going to start going. Falls down to 8th as he decides to take over the outside line. Watch how there's a little squeeze here. Once again, this is some trouble. Paul Wilson, 3 wide, lap 66. We got some trouble here. Everybody's staying
Still
pretty
3 wide. Will Connor
solid
get
out
help?
there. Jackson, talk about it, man.
Still 3 wide. Connor getting a little bit of help. Paul Wilson just falling back. Will the cars in front go 3 wide? Mark gets left out in the middle. Will he get help from Paul Wilson? Mason Flagar tries to go down. Can't quite make it there. Yes, he can. That time by. Mark going to go a little bit higher. Now everyone's spreading apart. Back down to calmness.
Boy, a lot of things happening out here with these guys shuffling out there on the track. I would say the top 10 have been pretty hairy. Already falling back is Ricky Hart leading in number 17. Yeah, 17th spot there. We move back up to Kyle Fahey, who holds on to 16th with Benjamin Lacey. And those drivers are trying to move their way up. I knew we had a fan out there waiting for Kyle Fahey to fight their way back to the front, but he is working on it. Watch Connor Gibson get another run here as he's going to try to see if he can get behind Mason Flagar and shoot his way back up to the front. But will he be contested? Will he, guys, have an opportunity to get around here? Looks like he might check up just a little bit. Whoa! Where did he come from? Mark Allen Bivens with a huge software problem here. No one can find him. Did you see
Connor Gibson
that?
with a huge... Yeah, I heard someone on the radio say, hey, did anyone else just see the 76 disappear? And then about 5 seconds later, the 76 reappears inside of another car. I don't know how we didn't crash there.
Holy cow. Yeah, right now the 76 has got to get that under control, especially for being one of our prominent leaders here tonight. All right, let's move back up to our Sour Patch Kid, who's sitting there working right behind some of our other drivers here. I believe Kyle Fahey is to his inside. That does give us David Westover and Willie Evernham sitting in front of him. And now Cody Welch has diced out. Oh, shot to a lapped car. Who was that?
That's Brett Guzik again, taking out a lapped car.
No way.
I'm not sure what just happened there.
Dude, what is what is going on?
No damage to that 04, it looks like.
How did he come out of the line and hit him and no damage? Holy cow, ladies and gentlemen, I am just about as stunned as you are right now. That should have been a huge pileup. But fortunately, it looks like the lapped car ricochets, and we are still doing our thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure who that was that he hit. Was that the 23?
Yeah, I think it was the 23 of Dylan DeCastro here. Wow.
He seems to be looking pretty all right as well. Odd crash there.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not all right.
Heading down pit road, absolutely not. I think he's had enough of that one. I'll take a quick peek at that car. Yep, right rear smashed in. All right, let's get back up to the front. There's Ricky Hart sitting 17th. John Osborne sitting right behind. Osborne yet to have a win, I believe, here in this league. And has made the playoffs each and every year. Just on his consistency. But right now, John Osborne sitting 17th. I think his average finish at super speedways is 8th place. He's got a long way to go.
He's able to make it to 8th place. That'd be a good start of the season for him. Like you said, he's very consistent in every track. You know, Bandit Racing League, you never know what's going to happen. As long as you're consistent, usually you'll make it into the playoffs. That's how I made it to the playoffs anytime I did. the one season I made it into the Final Four without winning a single race. Still very proud of that. And John Osborne, I believe, did it last season as well. So John Osborne, definitely going to be someone to watch all season.
Yep. We'll see if he can definitely retain his title or break his streak. As we move up to David Westover is currently holding in 7th. All drivers in the top 10 have gained positions here tonight. Westover gaining 10 as he's currently holding on to 6. We hop on top. A hard Mountain Dew car, the number 88. And now the Chevy Camaro is now starting to watch the number 20 of Kyle Fahey sling on around. Finally, the outside line coming alive. I've got to say, Brett Guzik, regardless, even though he is a lap down or so, is still racing like he is going for the win.
Like I said, Brett never backs down. Doesn't matter what lap he's on, doesn't matter what position he's in, doesn't matter the track or the car. Brett Guzik will always be trying to get to the front, and that's something that a lot of people don't like, and something that a lot of people really do like watching him. So, great race car driver. Good to see him out there.
Yep, as we take a look off the left rear quarter panel here of Kyle Fahey. Number 38 of Peter Murphy working to the inside there, moving up front to the left front fender. Take a look. Yep, outside line, going to get the run. Jacob Malone would be happy to see we got another Buc-ee's fan out there in the number 72. And we are shooting on around. Trying to see if we can get just a little more. Notice how they are bobbing on that top line. That is them actually fighting that the draft and the vacuum that it provides along the side of the car. So if you're trying to hold a solid line, that car is trying to suck you down toward the other car and make contact. And that is what he is trying to avoid. Right now he's getting ready to roll up on the Crunchyroll car of the 94 Ford of Ethan Sikorsky. Right now he is the farthest back Ford there in the top 3.
Yeah, Ethan Sikorsky, good to see him back up towards the front. It was kind of a, Connor Mason and Mark Party for a while now, but a lot of new faces for this race staying up towards the front. Especially that 20 car of Kyle Fahey. I'm not sure he's been up front all day. These might be his first lead laps here. In that Budweiser paint scheme, I think. Yep.
Kyle Fahey finally getting up to the front. That is a 24 position gain. Curtis Yancey and Bassinger are still hanging out here, both with 25 as they hold into the top 5. But still, the question remains, can these guys make it on fuel? Do they have enough to make it to the end? Question, seeing how well, and Benjamin Lacey coming down for that extra splash of fuel has unfortunately set him down in the 15th spot.
Yeah, if we see one caution, I think these drivers, especially Lacey, will have enough fuel to make it to the end. But it's all a matter of who gets taken out in that caution.
Back and forth, back and forth. I try to figure out where in the world there's the soft spot out here on the track. Notice Curtis Yancey rejoining back up front. That is Lakey now into the lead. Fahey gets marched out. Whoa! Good save there as Connor Gibson looks like a bad push. It causes some trouble. Look who's on the roll. Yep, trying to block to the outside. Yancey not looking to make any friends as he looks to push Cody Welch off. Now, that was technically a pass under the yellow line with left side tires, but he was pushed out of the line.
Yeah,
there
I think they're going to call that as
Yancey.
okay.
Yeah, well, Yancey was definitely trying to block him out there and take that bottom line, but it was already occupied there by the 85. Boy, there's a lot of shuffling up here. Mason Flagar now shuffles up to the top line. He was considering moving down to the bottom and bailing out and leaving David Lakey left to hang. But that is not working. Austin McGill, who led a ton of laps, is now down to 8th.
Yeah, David Lakey looks high that time by.
We hop on top of Austin McGill's car as we look forward, entering turn number 3. And these guys are still side by side, looking like they're finally driving to some solid lines here. They've been shuffling up the past couple of laps. Big run there by Austin McGill. You see how close he gets snugged up to the 20. And they have opportunities to start making some passes. David Lakey, Cody Welch sitting 1 and 2. Welch looking to not have a repeat of last year. Yes, eliminated during the playoffs. He was actually one of the favorites to win. Now takes the lead, but is running up on some lap traffic.
Welch to the lead. Ramos looking high. Welch is going to lose his help. Now Kyle Fahey trying to push. Outside lane once again prevailing. Like what you thought we would be seeing. Mason Flagar looks low. Cody Welch going to be there to push.
Oh. Lap car getting ready to rotate up onto the track makes Cody Welch.
Oh, car's pitting.
Oh, yeah. 22
Lacey
laps left
included.
to go. All right, we'll run through our pitters here. Mason Flagar, Benjamin Lacey, Paul Wilson, Ricky Hart, Kevin Foster, Bob Berry, John Osborne, Nick Nickerson, Cody Welch, Kyle Fahey, and Hunter Musselwhite is heading down on in the pit.
Yeah, big strategy call here on who decides to pit and who doesn't. I really do think there could be a couple cars that are able to make it to the end here. We've seen Brett Guzik. Obviously, he's a lot of laps down, so it doesn't matter. But, you know, Brett Guzik, he's been able to save fuel at even tracks like this and get maybe a lap or two more fuel than everyone else somehow. Still haven't been able to understand how he does it. But if Brett's able to do it, so is someone else. So, you know.
I know some people out there say some people say there's a grip hack. You think there's a fuel hack out there?
Oh, I bet there's a fuel hack. Talk about the yellow banana. I can't remember what the name of the driver was, but the 70s or 80s, he wrapped the fuel line multiple times around his car. Officials said his fuel tank was too big. They pulled it out. He said, that's fine, and he got back in, and he drove it back to his pit stall with no fuel tank in it.
Oops.
So, all sorts of cheats.
Well, where does it
luckily,
say you
iRacing
can't do
was
that?
very good with, you know, making sure no one's cheating. Got the anti-cheat on there, but obviously, always ways to bypass.
Ah, yes. All right, not bad. Ramos starting to lead some laps here. He started in second place here in the race. David Lakey still holds on to second. Curtis Yancey third. Yancey's been pretty hot-headed here. I would say a dangerous driver. And I think that probably would be why Connor Gibson is hanging back just a hair, though. Right now, remember Connor Gibson last year was one of the most improved drivers out there on the track. Somehow he had gotten linked up with the right team out there, got some good, I would say some tutelage out there, and had turned his racing career around. Originally, we saw Connor Gibson hanging out somewhere in the 20s, maybe the top, back 15. Right now, he is a top 5 driver here, and this is fantastic to see that 31 Chevrolet just doing what he does best. But he's got to watch his timing here. 19 laps left to go, 18 when we hit the line, and the drivers are going to be watching that fuel gauge. I think everybody's puckered up right now, whether they're going to make it or not. Most have been in the draft since lap number 62. Not many have led. Cody Welch is leading the drivers who came out of pit road on lap number 78, and he is hanging back by about 35 seconds off pace here. That would require everybody to come down pit
One car
road.
goes around in the back.
Whoa!
Kevin Foster goes around off the bumper of, not sure who that is.
That's all right. We'll take a look here as our third caution comes out here tonight. Let's take a look.
I think it's going to be that 16 car.
Uh-oh. Is that Hunter Musselwhite here? Oh, yep. A little too close on the right front. Ends up sending him the rest of the way around. Yuck.
Shouldn't be too bad for Kevin Foster. I believe Kevin is one of those guys who have already used his fast repair. So, probably some some pit crew members going to bring out the hammers and bend everything back to where it needs to be.
Yep. Well, they only have a limited amount of time. A couple times they're going to go around. Caution replay brought to you by Perfect Shine Auto Spa. We're going to cut to commercial real quick, and we will be right back.
Hey there, Bandit Racing League fans. Marshall Crocker Jr. here, talking to you all about GeezerAuthentics.com, your place for official Bandit Racing League merchandise. Let's check out some of our hot new items, including the Jackson Knock t-shirts that come in a variety of sizes and colors, just the same as our new 785 Racing hoodies. They come in a variety of colors to keep you warm and toasty this winter season. You can also see our SimTraX Broadcasting merch to rep your favorite broadcaster, with some desk pads and some water bottles and various other merchandise, as well as our GFR Racing team shirts to rep each and every driver on one of the best teams in Bandit. Go check out GeezerAuthentics.com to see how you can support the series and your favorite drivers.
LAT Racing Oils is invested in winning. With industry-leading at-track support, superior engineering, blending technology, and the World Championships to prove it, LAT is your premier choice for racing lubricants. Used by NHRA Pro Mod champions Jose Gonzalez and Chris Thorne, along with their closest competitors, LAT Racing Oil continues to carry top-level racers to the winner's circle in all categories of competition. From engine oil to transmission fluid and gear oil, LAT has you covered from end to end in your race car. A nationwide dealer network means easy access to our products as well. Visit LATRacingOils.com for more.
All right, appreciate you guys hanging out there for our sponsor shout-outs out there. LAT Racing Oils, Jim's Auto Works out there, Apex Sim Racing, and a few other guys out there, Perfect Shine Auto Spa, and Geezer Authentics, of course, who's bringing you this race here tonight for the Geezer Authentics 100. Daytona has been an awfully crazy one here so far. Last caution that just came out involved Hunter Musselwhite and Kevin Foster. Looked like we couldn't see quite where the right front of our fender was and might have clipped the number 8 machine. So we are getting ready to get back under green here, but the pace car lights are still on. So lane choice goes to our leader, Cody Welch, who's now in the lead. Came down on lap number 78. He's confident he's got enough fuel to make it to the end. But did anybody take any tire strategy in the back? Not from what I'm seeing here.
And really, you know, tires only come into play those last few laps when they're pushing real hard. I feel like a lot of these people feel like they don't need to get tires because by the time it comes to the end of the race, the tires will kind of even out on their wear patterns, and probably the pushing will be about the same for people with new tires and with old tires.
Odd enough, Cody Welch decides to take the outside lane, seeing that outside lane has been kind of falling to pieces here tonight. Fortunately, he does have Kyle Fahey, who's been doing a lot of pushing here tonight, so maybe he does have an opportunity. Sean Britt to his highest spot here of the night, up to 6th. This will give him an opportunity for maybe a top 5 finish. Right now, I should expect to see Sean Britt to do pretty well this season. Unfortunately, he does get caught up in a few wrecks that he is not of his own doing, but definitely a couple of guys are going to be shuffling around and doing a few extra things. All right, are they calling that a racing incident out there with Mr. Musselwhite in the 16?
Yes, or no, they're actually blaming it, not blaming. They're putting the fault on the 16 car. I'm not sure what kind of penalties we're giving out this season. Last season, it was a to-the-back penalty. I'm guessing that's what they're doing this time but I'm not sure.
Okay, well, we'll keep an eye, as right now, I'm not sure if it's going to be to the back of the line or if that's going to be a drive-through. So I do appreciate everybody out there. Only one car has retired here for the night, as Kevin Foster rejoins back down pit road, and really at a horrible time. And I don't think he's going to be able to get back out here and be competitive. Pace car lights are off. It's going to head on in here. And I expect this one to finish all the way to the end.
That would be amazing.
Yes. All right, let's get ready to get this one going. The 85 Chevrolet of Cody Welch. Here we go, back under green.
That high side getting a great run. Multiple cars looking to get up there. Cody Welch goes back down low once they clear the bottom. Kyle Fahey pushing real nice as they head into turns number 1 and 2. Just arrow push, nothing physical, but there to the lead.
I got to admit, a lot of drivers had taken deep breaths out there when Quiggin moves to the top into the 19 Ford. They're shooting by already at over 190 miles an hour heading down the backstretch. Cody Welch wants to make sure he stays out front. There's some mirror driving, and somebody gets bumped out. Yep, heading to the back is Paul Wilson. He is able to shuffle back in the line. Great job there by John Osborne for going ahead and letting him out. But John Osborne does not disappoint. Said that this guy is a man of average finishes up front here at Super Speedways, currently holding 9th. So that's about where to be expected for him. Quiggin gets into the lead, though. Sean Britt hits second. And remember, both McQuiggan and Sean Britt have been working together all night, almost by themselves. So we'll see if Sean Britt decides to continue helping him. He does. Returning back to the fight in the front is Mark Allen Bivens and Benjamin Lacey. But, whoa, the outside line. Look who's on the roll here. Mark Allen Bivens slicing it right up the center. And right now, that's going to leave Benjamin Lacey on the bottom line. 3 wide. Get ready for trouble.
Yeah, Sean and McQuiggan from the lead back down to possibly around 10th. Mark Allen Bivens, your new leader. They were pushing real hard on the bottom. Now pushing real hard on the top. Connor Gibson pushing. David Lakey, they want to go to the front.
Gibson.
Bassinger trying to make it work with Mark Allen Bivens and Benjamin Lacey.
Yep, 12 laps left to go. Connor Gibson not afraid of the blinking that we see from David Lakey. I see Patsy Steele finally joining us out there in the chat as David Lakey is in the process of taking over the lead, putting Mark Allen Bivens, only into the left side mirror there, not into the rear view yet as they head down the backstretch. Turn number 3 is going to be the choice here. What right now Kyle Fahey wants to do. Connor Gibson doing a little wiggling in front of him right now. Benjamin Lacey trying to hold the bottom, sitting behind Chris Bassinger, who sits in third. 27 positions gained for him. He'd love to get 2 more to get into the lead and win this one. 11 to go at the line.
Still pushing really hard, side by side, about 5 rows back this time. As they head into turn 1, David Lakey a little bit with the edge. As he starts to blink, that's going to be dangerous for the outside line. As well as I'd like to point out, the 20 car got just a verbal warning for the pushing the car underneath the WO line. No real penalty.
Okay, awesome. So RC doing a great job there, making sure we got eyes in the sky and doing exactly what we need to do. Start dishing out warnings when you can before it's too late. Tell them that, you can't do it 5 or 6 times. We are on it. So great job there by RC of Dalton Kilroe. Appreciate you out there, buddy, and hopefully we'll see you here for the remainder of the season as David Lakey takes over the lead. Connor Gibson's at second. Fahey trying to hold on to third, but Fahey wants the lead. He's going to get the help there from the 19 of McQuiggan, and he's working on through. Stack up here in the back. Moving on back is John Osborne, as it looks like a little bit of an accordion move there from Paul Wilson, and John Osborne rotating its way on back where a couple of drivers got tangled up. Ethan Sikorsky was not, but that should have been Ricky Hart, and we have been waiting for Ricky Hart from pole position to currently sitting 15th. This guy needs to be back in the top 5. But with 10 laps to go, 9 here at the line as they sling on past here in about a quarter of a lap. This is going to be pretty tight racing all the way to the end.
Yeah, Britt and McQuiggan have been working together all day. Now both of them stuck behind Kyle Fahey. They'd love to be the leaders. Kyle Fahey goes to the bottom. Now the high side going to prevail as they head into turn 1. Side drafting Kyle Fahey, Sean, and McQuiggan both up to the lead.
Look how close these guys are driving right now. Lakey giving a shove there to Fahey. Fahey not able to capitalize, though. Right now we are looking back as McQuiggan takes the lead as we are getting across the front here, trying to come up with a little bit of an answer. But, yes, Sean Britt not leaving here. Does not seem to be giving up at all there on the number 19 Ford. And there's going to be a lot of stuff happening here. Hopefully right now David Lake keep that blinking to a minimum.
Yeah, once again, getting scary with David Lakey with the blinking, but still pushing the bottom lane just fine. McQuiggan still your leader as they head across the line. That time, 8 laps to go here at Daytona.
Yep, still 2 teammates leading the front line of this charge. And they are still keeping the roll going on. Heading down the backstretch now. Still rolling and rolling. McQuiggan now doing some blinking. Right now the 19 shuffling in and out of the track here. We're looking to see where David Lakey ended up. Lakey now to the inside here of Sikorsky. Boy, Peter.
Abraham and Murphy up front for the first time all day today. Well, not the first time, but especially Abraham in a great position, the best position he's been in all day. Now looking low. Wants help from Kyle Fahey. 7 laps to go that time by Peter Murphy. Also goes low. Now no longer any help behind Sean Britt. Abraham looks to take it.
Hop on top of Willie Abraham's car as he has the inside line. Looking like McQuiggan still holding up front there with the teammate Sean Britt there with the YAR team. And they are making stuff happen. Trying to see if they got a little extra shuffling. Now I see some movement here in the background as we stay here with our top 10 drivers. There's got to be a driver who's getting pretty antsy, looking to catch up to. Yancey is Benjamin Lacey. Lacey starting to work his way up to the front now as Austin McGill's to his outside. 27 machine of Ramos now going to go in his rearview mirror and still continuing the charge. Benjamin Lacey sitting 11th, and right now he's looking forward. 6 to go. Yep, forces the subject down on the bottom 3 wide. Follows behind Fahey now, and looks like there is going to be a wreck. Lacey around. Caught up with Cody Welch.
Mark pushing really hard. I'm not sure if that was off the bumper Mark or if that was off the corner panel of someone else, but Mark really wants to move, was getting really aggressive behind that 7 car. I'm not sure if 7 car really wanted all that, but lots of body panels all over the track. Gonna have to do some cleanup.
Yep, didn't want any of that smoke there, so all right, here we are. Perfect Shine Auto Spot earning their keep here tonight as they get another caution replay here. I'm fairly certain that is Brett Guzik broken down on the inside of the track there. Kevin Foster with over 8 minutes of repair time here. And he has yet to return to the track, so I don't think he will be coming back. Cody Welch is going to be one we're going to circle out there. Is he okay? As Benjamin Lacey got tangled up, these 2 drivers did make contact with the wall. Would say it didn't look too bad out there, Jackson, with them sliding up, contacting the wall, and then just sliding the noses across. Looks like the damage may be to a minimum.
Yeah, Lacey was able to get on the brakes pretty quick. Not too much momentum, kinetic energy into that outside wall, but still enough to crumple up that front nose. That will affect his aero just a little bit. But if he's behind someone, he'll be just fine. But it's going to be hard for him to get up to that in front of the rest of the cars. Although Cody Welch seems to be perfectly fine.
Yep. We're going to take a look here at the 3 wide we have. Benjamin Lacey right on the yellow line, though. Oh. Gets caught up. Yeah, look at him scatter behind. Connor Gibson. Oh, that's what took out Guzik.
Big hit for Bob Berry as well. Majority fault is going to be set on the 84 car of David Lakey.
I was going to ask who was in the center during that whole shebang, because it looked like whoever was in the center ended up getting caught up, and that was the one who made the fault. And I think that, yep, that's going to be the 0 Foxtrot car here of David Lakey. Watch as Lacey gets ready to clear him. I don't think he knows that there's a car directly behind him. It catches him right there with the fender and sends him the rest of the way around.
That 81 car, John Osborne, got air. There's a little bump on the inside. He got all 4 wheels off the ground, it looked like. Through the grass he went.
He would.
Big ride for John Osborne.
All right, we'll take a look at John Osborne here as he launches it. Ooh,
And then through the grass, another big bump. Keeps it together. Great driving by John Osborne.
Looks like we got sparks shooting out from underneath Bill Harkin's machine there, and I don't know if he has a fast repair. Right front fender missing. I can't tell. Let me see if I can get that drone footage out there. I don't know if that's a broken toe link here. Bill out there in the chat. That doesn't look
higher
good.
than. Yeah, wheel looks a little bit higher than the other wheels. I'd say that looks like a broken toe link.
No. All right, Bill Harkins. We're going to kind of stick with Bill Harkins here. And
He wasn't even at the front. He still got taken out.
Yep. There it is, end of the wall. Bam.
Yeah, chaos happened around him. Not really anywhere he could go.
Yep. Look at that wheel.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's probably, just a little bit towed out, I'd say. Tiny bit.
All right. Well, hopefully we're able to see Bill Harkins return next week at Homestead. As these guys are getting bumped, banged around, smashed up. This is definitely an interesting run. Excellent job, guys. Appreciate you guys all hanging in here. And I've got to say, Jackson, when we take a look at it, yes, I've got 44 people watching currently. Average view time of 29 minutes. So you guys aren't in and out. You guys are sticking around. So you are the ones who have been here since the beginning. I do appreciate you guys showing up here tonight. This has definitely been an interesting race, and especially when we're coming down to crunch time. This is going to be the very end. I do believe we have 3 green-white checkers if they're needed to be used. Hopefully they will not be, as lap number 98 will commence as we cross the line. So
yeah, at this point, no more strategy. Everyone's got enough fuel. This one's just going to be down to racing. Yeah, I think we're going to use some of those green-white checkers.
So drivers like Benjamin Lacey and Cody Welch, who are currently camping out in 21st and 22nd, this is going to be their time to kind of wait this one out possibly. We'll see. All right, I see Bill out there telling you guys to hit the like button. Yeah, don't just hit that. Hit the subscribe button. We are definitely bringing you the best in iRacing here from SimTraX Broadcasting. Wednesday nights will be the Bandit Racing League. Saturday nights will be the NSR League. And Monday nights will be the National Oval Racing Association on Mondays. Green flag on its way back out. Thank you again, Perfect Shine Auto Spa, for being our caution sponsor here of the night. We are getting ready to get back under green here, and that's going to go to Joshua McQuiggan here in the front. Ethan Sikorsky holds on to second, and the number 5 of Sean Britt sits third.
McQuiggan on the bottom had a little bit of a push from Ethan Sikorsky. Saw Sean up there, went up high to help his teammate. Looking to go 3 wide. That 9 car does not want to stay behind him. Big pushes from Curtis Yancey, 3 wide out of turn number 2.
Yeah, expect to see the number 9 return fire, but he is not going to have the opportunity as the 9 is rushing on backwards. Sikorsky out in front. Yes, he is. Continuing through. Does Peter Murphy stay with him? He will. Kyle Fahey moves up to third. The 19 machine, it's Joshua McQuiggan, falls back, and we are waiting to see where Paul Wilson sides with Sean Britt. White flag this time by. Here we go. Appreciate you, Apex Racing, out there for going ahead and knocking it on down here for our last lap sponsor of the season. Moving on with Ethan Sikorsky down and out front here. A lot of guys have gotten an opportunity to come up with the turn. There it is. There's your turn. Kyle Fahey around. Remember, white flag is out. A lot of things are going to happen, and it will not matter. Sean Britt, fortunately, looks like he avoids this one. Who shoots up the gut?
Mark Allen Bivens with a huge run. More cars going around down the back straightaway. It's going to be between Mark Allen Bivens and Peter Murphy. Peter Murphy needs Mark's help to get around. Will Mark be able to catch before the checkered flag? Ethan is exactly where he needs to be. Just needs to keep Peter Murphy behind him. He goes for the side draft side by side down the front straightaway. Ethan looks for the side draft back. Will not be able to make it there. Peter Murphy going to be your Daytona winner here in the Bandit Racing League.
Geezer Authentics does go for the win there. A Toyota does come out on top, one of two, and that is Dylan Nicastro, who finishes in 28th in the other Toyota. Ethan Sikorsky, once again, the win is just out of his reach, and he barely misses it. They're 60 thousandths of a second behind, and Mark Allen Bivens able to fire up to the front, sitting in third. Fantastic job by our drivers out there to come away with that last lap run. That was wild there. Now, we had just about everybody turning around. Mason Flagar, McQuiggan, even Sean Britt got mashed up on that one. And Britt, I think, went all the way back to from 3rd to 21st. I guarantee we got a guy screaming now. He's going to be pretty upset.
Yeah, Ethan Sikorsky, so close. Right at the line, side by side. Could not quite get it.
All right. Great job here by Peter Murphy as he comes away with the win here tonight. I would say for a driver we haven't seen before out here or at all, coming away with the first race win right off the bat. That is awesome. I guarantee he's
Peter
ecstatic.
Murphy didn't see him a lot in the last 2 seasons, but he's been a veteran in the Bandit Racing League. Been here for, I think, a pretty long while. Was here before I was here, but has been not super active in the past couple of seasons. But Peter Murphy, real good in the next gen. If he's running full time, I expect to see him in victory lane a couple more times this season.
Our Charger award does go to Curtis Yancey, up 25 positions as he finishes in 4th. They are still doing a little bit of a tech check down there, making sure everything is okay, so we'll give you the unofficial results here. Murphy, Sikorsky, Bivens, Yancey, and Ricky Hart, our pole sitter, finishing in 5th, was able to survive the wrecking that was happening out there all the way toward the end. Awesome job here. Find your favorite driver out there, as a couple of them were knocked out and down. Nickerson finishing in 14th. Welch able to fight back up to 17th. Boy, and Osborne, 8th place. How about that?
Yeah, Osborne, after getting probably about 2 or 3 feet of air in the grass, still bringing it home, P8.
Yeah, only 3 drivers finished exactly where they qualified. Dylan Nicastro started 28th, finished 28th. Sean Britt started 21st, finished 21st. And Mark Allen Bivens starting 3rd, ending 3rd. So as 3 drivers that didn't move were pretty impressive. All right, everybody, great job out there. Kind of a round of applause for all of our drivers. Looked like it was fairly clean until that last lap. We got a couple guys banging around. I would say that number 9 car started getting sideways there, Willie Evernham, and then it just started collecting a ton of drivers. All right, hang in there, y'all, and we are going to cut away here for just a moment. Try to run our guys down, and we will definitely have to. We got to know. We got to know how in the world these guys did come up with some of what they did here tonight, and kind of get their take on it. So hold on. We'll be right back.
Hey, Bandit Racing League viewers, Marshall Crocker Jr. here, talking to you about BanditRacingLeague.com, your place for all things Bandit Racing League information. Check out any of the pages on the site, including the schedule, to find out where we'll be the rest of Season 13. You can also check out the broadcast page to see past and future SimTraX Broadcasting productions of the BRL. You go to our About page and you can sign up and learn more about the series and maybe be one of our newest drivers in Season 14. You can also go to our point standings to find out who's on the cutoff line to make the Season 13 playoffs, and finally see the results of our most recent race. Best of all, it's got links to Geezer Authentics as well as our live broadcasts, so you can get all your Bandit content.
LAT Racing Oils is invested in winning. With industry-leading at-track support, superior engineering, blending technology, and the World Championships to prove it, LAT is your premier choice for racing lubricants. Used by NHRA Pro Mod champions Jose Gonzalez and Chris Thorne, along with their closest competitors, LAT Racing Oil continues to carry top-level racers to the winner's circle in all categories of competition. From engine oil to transmission fluid and gear oil, LAT has you covered from end to end in your race car. A nationwide dealer network means easy access to our products as well. Visit LATRacingOils.com for more.
Alrighty, guys, we are catching up with our third place finisher, Mark Allen Bivens, able to stick it out to the end, and man, it was close. Able to fire through the middle of the field right at the end. Mark, talk to me about the race, man. This has been a seesaw of you leading, falling back into the 20s, and then being able to fight up for a third place finish.
Well, man, that's tragic. We led so many laps. That's actually tragic. But yeah, we were just able to pick our lanes right and pick and choose our battles there. Able to get third at the end with a little bit of luck. But I guess that's just how it goes. It's how Daytona's going to go. But yeah, led a lot of good laps. Just excited for the rest of the season because that was a really good start.
Yeah, who in the world would have thought it would have ended that way? I would expect a little bit of bumping around, but we knew even when the number 9 started sliding around a little bit, bad things were getting ready to happen. How do you keep you and your team looking out the windshield, not out the rearview mirror?
Well, I'd like to be looking in the rearview mirror because I mean that we're leading, but I think it's just we just move on from here and take our talents to Homestead and go do what we always do.
All right. Well, go and give me a shout out while I got you in here, buddy.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody that helps out. I'd like to thank all my teammates. I'd like to thank just everybody in this league. I'd like to thank y'all guys for broadcasting. Thank you to Lake Storage, M&D Outfitters, Bryke Racing. So yeah, we're gonna go take this and have some good points. Hey, picked up a stage win, so come on.
There you go. There you go. So that means we got some points in the bag. Mark Allen Bivens, we'll see you at Homestead, buddy. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, and as it looks like Jackson Knock will be catching up with Peter Murphy, I'll run into Ethan Sikorsky, who once again just barely misses the win. Ethan Sikorsky, a lot of things to happen out there, a lot of choices to be made, but you decided to keep it clean all the way here to the end.
Yeah, it's just bummed that I couldn't get that, but congrats to Peter, man. He timed that perfect. I can't be too mad because he pushed me those last 2 laps, so.
All right. Well, the Crunchyroll Ford decides to come out unscathed here. I don't see really hardly any damage to the 94. If we were to rewind this back 1 lap, would you have done anything different?
Probably not. Maybe blocked a little bit better, but it's so hard to time those runs that they get and just be able to do it cleanly and not wreck yourself or wreck them. So it's really not much I could have done differently, but other than just anticipated a little bit better. But yeah, no.
Is it a possibility, just me being in the booth, if you see a guy starting to fade back behind you and you're in the lead, would it be a good idea to let off the gas and fade back to him?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, you don't want to be out all by yourself because that's how they get such huge runs.
Right. Man. All right, so this transfers over to Homestead, man. You pick up right where you left off last year, and this is going to be an interesting run all the way to the playoffs. And I'm talking about playoff first race into this season. That's going to be pretty kind of bold of me to go ahead and assume guys are going to do certain things. But with a second place finish, we move to Homestead. What are you expecting to happen there?
Just have a solid run, stay out of the wall, and maybe not get any pit road penalties like I usually do. So hopefully we just have another clean run.
All right. right. Shout out time. Go ahead and mention sponsors, people out here watching you.
Everyone that puts this league together, it's amazing. It's a lot of fun just being able to come out on Wednesday and be able to race. It's great time. I love it.
All right, Ethan, don't hang your head, buddy. You were right there. So a couple more races. I think you got another win in the in your future. So hang in there, and we'll see you at Homestead.
Thank you.
Man, I almost feel Jackson. Sometimes that guy in his mind, it's if you're not first, you're last, and he's starting to get that feeling. But you catch up with Peter Murphy here in the 38 machine, who had a heck of a run right here at the end.
Yeah, Peter Murphy, you pushed Ethan Sikorsky all the way into turn 4. You made that move on the final lap. You were, towards the middle of the pack most of the race, but you did all the right things at the end of the race. Tell me about the end of the race there and what you did to get yourself into that position.
Yeah, so on that final restart, just kind of hooked up with him, tandem out there. Didn't know if it'd be a good idea or not. And then coming to take the white, the accident behind us, figured I'd just stay hooked up, push him. And then when I realized coming into 3, they weren't going to catch us out of 4, I decided to just try to side draft, see if I could get there. And it worked.
Yeah, tell me about, last season, I think the season before that as well, you were part-time, I believe. What are your plans on this season? And, obviously, if you're full-time, great start to the season. How do you feel the next couple races are going to go for you?
Yeah, I've been part-time the past couple seasons. Can't really fully commit. I'm going to try this year. We'll see. Hopefully I can. But I don't really run this car too much, so we'll see how the intermediate and short tracks go, but hopefully it goes well.
Well, I hope to see you out there. You got any sponsors and shout-outs you can get for us?
Just shout out to my wife for letting me do this. She's my #1 supporter and my biggest fan, so that's about it.
Well, thank you very much. Great racing today, and excited to see what you can do next week, hopefully if you can make it.
Thanks.
All right, that's going to do it for us here with Peter Murphy and one of the 2 Toyotas. The 38 machine comes in for the win here tonight. Awesome job here, and I definitely expect to see these guys return and do just that, is continuing their charge up to the front. Anything left to add here, Jackson?
No, I think that's about it. Really great racing that we saw today. All the way to the end, crazy finish. Next week, probably going to be about the same. Obviously, intermediate track, but we got a lot of good drivers here, a lot of new faces. Very excited to see what comes of this league, all next gen, all season. Going to be a fun one to watch.
Yep, they're really going to have to take care of their right side tires there at Homestead. It's extremely tough out there, and especially track temperature will be key for those guys to succeed. Appreciate each and every one of you joining us here tonight at SimTraX Broadcasting, bringing you the Bandit Racing League here tonight. That's going to do it for us here at Daytona. What an awesome race it was, and how everybody did it. Peter Murphy, Ethan Sikorsky, Mark Allen Bivens, our podium finishers. But be well, be safe, be kind, and we'll see all you guys next time.